We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. F it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
I don't know if you are ready to hear this or not, but Pam Bondi, who's in charge of the DOJ, and Kash Patel, who's in charge of the FBI, are lying to you. And we're going to get into that. But the current administration is lying to you. Now, do I think Trump was involved in any of the Epstein stuff? I do not, because it definitely would have come out. They would have deleted a lot of stuff, but they wouldn't have deleted anything they had on Trump, and they would have used that to keep him from gaining the presidency this last go-around. I am 100% sure Trump is not involved with Epstein in any way, shape, or form. I am quite positive of that, because the previous administration would have used that, the previous FBI. Did the previous FBI and DOJ, did they delete things before this administration came in? That is very possible, likely probable. So you can say, well, you know, there's a lot of stuff that was missing, and so that's why this DOJ, this FBI can't get us the information we want. That is a possibility. However, there is hard evidence now that this administration, this FBI, this DOJ is lying to us. Now, I am going to put this over on YouTube. YouTube, unfortunately, I have to remove a lot of the words during this story. You're going to just have to deal with it, or go over to Rumble, Odd Man Out, or betterbachelor.locals.com and become a supporter. It is the way it is. So if you remember, Pam Bondi came out and she said, we have the list. We have the list, and we're going to be releasing the list. And look, we're going to give all these conservative influencers that have YouTube channels and podcasts, we're going to give them this list. And they come out of the building holding it high. Look, everybody, we've got the files. And then as they're flipping through it, we find out, all the stuff that was in there was previously released. B, the stuff that they got in those binders was actually more redacted than what had previously been released. So we know there was some lying there. Then Pam Bondi says, well, actually, that's just what we have so far. But we have thousands of lists to go through, thousands of documents, and tens of thousands of hours of material. And we have to be very careful going through this, because we do not want to dox any of the young women that were involved in this, because they deserve their privacy. I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a thing called a blur filter. I use it quite often as I edit my content here, because if I put up something here in an infographic or a layover and YouTube doesn't like it, just when I'm editing, I'm blurring. So you could blur the innocents and you could keep the uninnocent people, the bad people, unblurred, and then show the world that information. So as you can see here, someone did the meme, and this is very accurate. We'll release the list. We just need more time. The list is on my desk, said Pam Bondi just a month or two ago. And then just recently, well, actually, there is no list. Here's my question for you. Here we see a photo where the innocent people have been blurred out. Well, maybe not all the innocent people. We don't know who that woman is in the back. But here we have someone that is supposedly, one of the women that gave an interview and was in the jury against Ghislaine Maxwell. I think maybe it's Ghislaine Maxwell. And so we have people that were like, Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail for a very, very long time because she partook in this. I guarantee you she knows who was involved with this. And I bet she'd talk if it let her out of jail, number one. Number two, somebody took this photo. Somebody was flying this plane. Somebody was a stewardess on this plane. Why are we not talking to them? And if we have talked to them, we need that information released. Okay, the black book that Ghislaine Maxwell had, oh, it's sealed by judge's orders. Okay, but you know who can unseal that? A higher court, the Department of Justice, etc. So for them to continue to go on this, oh, well, we don't have any information, or it was destroyed by the previous. There are still people alive today because I saw some of the interviews where they were talking to the women that were involved in this against their will. They talked to them. These women still exist, and these women are still wanting justice for the people involved. Why are we not interviewing? I mean, believe all women, right? I mean, if we believe all women, why are we not talking to the women that were forced into this that are still here? Why are we not talking to them and getting names? And how did you find out that Prince Andrew was involved in this if there's no lists or information? A whole lot of this doesn't make sense. So Jeremy over at The Quartering, I follow him on X, and he says I mean, this is a very clear summary. And he's right. No matter what, somebody is lying to you. And this is how you know. Because they said they have the information. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, this administration said, we have the lists. We have the video. We're going through it. We will release it. Well, Jeremy says either the deep state destroyed all this stuff, and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and Alina Habba all lied to the American people that it's sitting on their desk, that we have it and we're going through it. That's a lie. If it was destroyed, they'd just have to say it's all been destroyed. We have nothing. They didn't say that. They say we have it. We're going to put it out. So that's a lie. Or the files are not destroyed, and Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino are all lying to the American people that they don't have the information. They've caught themselves in a catch-22. One way or another, they're lying to you. And I hate to say that because I watch Dan Bongino's show. I like Dan Bongino. I watched Kash Patel when he did all these interviews on Joe Rogan, both way before he became FBI director and after. I like Kash. I believe he was passionate about releasing this information. So now the question is Kash Patel, is Pam Bondi, are these people corrupt? I don't know about Dan Bongino. He's Secret Service. I don't know about. So I don't know if he's involved with this or not. To be fair with Dan, he's Secret Service. He may not have anything to do with this. But are they corrupt, or is the deep state? And when we say deep state, we mean the unelected officials in the FBI, the CIA, some of our three-letter agencies, the lobbyists that are maybe paid by very, very rich billionaires, the billionaires and millionaires. Do they have enough money in the system to corrupt it enough that Kash Patel and Pam Bondi want to release it, but they've been told, if you do release it, your family's going to disappear. You're going to disappear. Everybody you know is going to disappear. I mean, but either way, they're lying to us one way or another. So here's the official news story, and then we're going to get into some of the other stuff. Oh, also I have another segment we're going to do about this, about the higher ups not understanding men and really getting us. And then we're going to talk about Gen Z men and Gen Z alpha men. They're conservative, they're based, and they're winning. So we are going to get some of this other stuff out there. Let me just mention that as well. And before I read this main article, as a matter of fact, let's just do our sponsored segment, and then that way I don't have to break it up later on in the stream. So let's do our sponsored segment from Fume. Flavored air is quickly becoming the go-to alternative for vaping and smoking. If you tried to quit and still can't, Fume might be the right way for you. There's no vapor, no nicotine, it's just flavored air. It's an award-winning flavored air device that delivers great taste without any harmful chemicals. Instead of inhaling vapor, you simply breathe in natural, non-toxic flavors that satisfy the craving without the downside. If you're used to reaching for something, it gets rid of that oral fixation and the fidgeting problem you have when you're reaching for your favorite habit. It's sleek, it's portable, and it's built to last, and you can personalize it. It's got several go-to flavors that taste delicious, and all they are is natural flavored air. Over 500,000 people have already made the switch to Fume as part of their habit-changing journey. If you're ready to try it for yourself, now's the time. For a limited time, if you order the Journey Pack, use my code BetterBachelor, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Click the link tryfume.com/BetterBachelor or scan the QR code on the screen and get yours today. Guys, if you're ready to move on to something healthier, get rid of the chemicals, and get away from your old bad habit, Fume is here to help you. Go check them out at the link down below. All righty, and back to me. Okay, let's get into the main story. By the way, sorry if my stream's a little off today. It's cloudy and rainy, and my internet is not so good out in the middle of the woods. And anyway, thank you for Fume for sponsoring this content. If you guys do want to quit vaping or smoking or anything like that, give it a shot. It does, when you're always reaching for something and want to puff and breathe and all that other stuff, it does help. And it's a fiddle. It's like a what do they call it? A fidget spinner, a gidget spinner, a widget spinner. You can fiddle with it. Anyway, the DOJ FBI review finds no Jeffrey Epstein clients list confirms self-deletion memo. A review ordered by President Donald Trump appointed leadership of the Department of Justice and FBI found no evidence that notorious deceased financier Jeffrey Epstein kept a client list of associates whom he blackmailed or conspired with to hurt dozens of women, according to a new memo reviewed by ABC News. The department has also released hours of purported footage as part of its review, which officials say further confirms Epstein died by self-deletion while in custody in his jail cell in Manhattan in 2019, contradicting conspiracy theories along embraced or spread by allies of President Trump and others. It has nothing to do with Trump and others. Now, this is an honest question for you. When is something come out of the Trump administration? When has any news report, anything, when has anything been said by Trump and his administration and ABC News says, yep, that's totally correct, that's totally true. This administration just told you the truth, everybody. Nothing to see here, and if you say any different, you're a conspiracy theorist. Why would this be one of the first times the news actually says, yep, totally right. This administration just said it. We have to believe them, everybody. If that doesn't tell you something fishy is going on, I don't know what to tell you, because you can either trust your government, no matter who's in power. You either trust your government or you know your history. You cannot do both. You cannot do both. I know my history, as do most of you. And so, again, it means you can't trust the government. The memo is also likely to generate outrage among those who have claimed Epstein's known high-profile associates could be implicated in his crimes, according to the FBI and DOJ review. No further charges are expected in connection with their probes into Epstein, and investigators did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So, again, Ghislaine Maxwell went to jail for nothing. Jeffrey Epstein went to jail for no reason. Nothing to see here. Moving on. So then, if that's the case, if there was no evidence, why did he delete himself? Why wouldn't he be like, look, I know I'm totally innocent. They're not going to find anything. No powerful people. I have no evidence on powerful people. There's no reason for me to end myself. They're going to find out that this is just a bunch of BS. It's fake charges. I got my money totally honestly. Nothing to see here. Why would I take myself out? Or the fact that, because again, it doesn't line up. If he did take himself out, why? I mean, he'd been arrested for weird, shady stuff before. He didn't delete himself then. Why would he do it all of a sudden? Because he's innocent? Where's my I don't think so?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, sir.
None of this makes sense. Attorney General Pam Bondi had previously promised the public release of scores of records associated with federal probes into Epstein, though in recent interviews she's claimed the delay was attributed to tens of thousands of videos within the FBI's possession showing potential minors being in the content. Where's all that information? Where is it? In late February, Bondi handed out binders with Epstein case files to pro-Trump social media influencers. We already mentioned that. And everything in it was crap. Bondi has faced growing criticism from some Trump supporters, not just Trump supporters. See, why do they keep having to paint it like it's just Trump supporters that care about this? I care about a corrupt government. Lots of people on the left care about a corrupt government. I guarantee you that. Now, granted, they tend to look the other way if they're getting what they want. And let's be honest, a lot of Trump supporters, and I hate to say this, but I'm seeing it on X myself, a lot of Trump supporters are willing to say, nope, I totally believe everything the Trump administration is saying. No reason to disbelieve them. Let's move on. So, if we're going to keep some integrity, we have to call, we have to call it like we see it. We call balls and strikes as they come. The Epstein file for years have been the subject of widespread speculation, blah, blah, blah. President Trump and the White House have been peppered with questions in recent months over the releasing of this stuff. Anyway, let's, and right here, AG Pam Bondi under fire over Epstein, the list. She's under fire because she said that they had all this information, tens of thousands of videos, and we've got to go through the documents. We got to protect the innocents. And then all of a sudden it's like, actually, lol, just kidding. So this video came out, and this is from Tim Pool. The video came out, and this right here is what they said. Look, everybody, here's video of the cell. This is the video that purports to show Epstein's cell. This is what they just released to us. And they said, look, now, we were told the camera was broken. We were told the guards were asleep. So if the camera was broken and the guards are asleep, well, down in the, it's hard to see, but in the little gray area there is the desk. But they can't see the door that supposedly is the door. Well, anyway, they fast forward it here, and you can see, and this is the reason why everything's moving around. Somebody in the background is moving this video. The video here jumps 1 minute ahead. So you can see it's 11:58 and 57, 58, 59, 12:01. Let me show you that to you again. If you look at the timestamp in the bottom left there, it jumps ahead a minute. So people are saying, okay, wait a minute. It just jumped. Why did it jump? So to be clear about this still isn't proof. I can edit a video to put fake timestamps, and I'm a moron. I'm an idiot, and I can do it. Now, first we're going to start with Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro is going to ask the question, hey, everybody, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, the Trump administration has said this is legit. You need to provide, if you're going to keep sticking that this is fake and this is BS, you need to provide proof, says Ben Shapiro.
We now have the answers. And the problem is this. People who never hedged their bets, people who never at any point suggested to you that they don't have data to back up the speculation, that the speculation was in and of itself the conclusion that if you speculate without evidence, that amounts to an actual conclusion to an investigation, they're going to be very upset today because it turns out that the DOJ and the FBI have concluded that Epstein didn't have a client list and died by suicide, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. Now, again, does this put to bed like all inquiries? Of course not. People can continue to speculate as much as they want. And I think there's still open questions here regarding how did Epstein make his money? Right, that's a very serious open question. And the speculation for a long time was he made his money from blackmail. But the DOJ and the FBI, again, run by people like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are telling you, I'm not telling you, they're telling you, people who are members of the Trump administration, people you elected and put into these positions to get you the truth on this matter, are telling you that he didn't, in fact, he was not murdered. He did not keep a client list. And he did not blackmail powerful figures. Okay, right? That is the thing that they are saying, not I. They are saying this. If you're willing to throw that over and claim they're lying, then I'd like to see you present your evidence that they are in fact lying. Because I know Dan. I don't think that Dan Bongino is lying to me. I know Kash Patel a little bit. I don't think Kash Patel is lying to me. I don't think these people are lying to me. Which means that if somebody else continues to claim that they're lying, they ought to provide their evidence at this point.
Okay. Now, I did not do this homework. Benny Johnson did. Props to Benny Johnson. Here's a question. Let's go back to this video. Here's the video right here. And you can see here's a door that says 46. It is green. Here's another door, green. These are two green doors. Why did they release this photo as the door that goes into Epstein's cell?
Now let's look at the screenshot from the video the DOJ shared. You immediately notice that whatever this is not the cell block that Epstein was in. Those are not cell doors. In fact, this 10 minutes into the video, a person just comes out of one of those doors with a trash bin and places it in the middle of the floor. So if it's not a cell block, what is this? The space that we're looking at is the common space near the elevator's staircase. I've marked it myself on the diagram below. The red dot is the position where the cameras are. The DOJ released video was recorded.
So what he's saying, and this is somebody else that has pulled up diagrams of the prison and where the camera locations are, because much of this, I guess, is available information. The doors that you see people coming in and out of is not the cell door. It is the block door. In other words, there are 8 cells in that hallway. And so the video that they released that Tim Pool shared here, this video, this is not somebody going in and out of the cell. It is somebody going in and out of the cell block. So why did the DOJ and the FBI release this video as proof of anything when this is proof of nothing? Why did they release this? This is nothing. This video, even though it's missing a minute, which again is still questionable, even though it's missing it, why did they release this as if, look, everybody, here's a video? Who cares? This is to the cell block. This isn't to his cell. So this gives us no new information.
This is the opposite of the officer's station, and in no way could have seen Epstein's cell block, let alone Epstein's cell. Even the one piece of evidence that they released is a lie. They said, here's Epstein's cell door. It's not. The way you can confirm this is the space marked on the schematics and the angle and the shape of the floor that matches the angles that we see in the doors in the video. The door is marked 46. That leads to the main entrance. This is the exit for the entire tier. So if we go once more to the DOJ footage, you can see that the officer station at the far end, when you zoom in, you see some teeth on the side. You can see them right there. Those teeth are the staircase up to Jeffrey Epstein's cell. You see them right there on the far right-hand side. Guys, is Tom ready? Is Tom set? Okay, great. Okay, we'll move very quickly here. The only thing that we can remotely see in the direction of Epstein's cell block is this silver staircase. You can go up and down the staircase without being seen by the camera. Anyone could have entered Epstein's cell, even in the footage. Now, this is important. Gate 46 is the only way in or out of the SHU cell block floor. Okay, got it. So this is the full entry to the floor. We have 11 hours footage throughout the night with that one missing minute. So you must prove that nobody entered or exited the floor, right? But the obvious question is, how do we know that someone wasn't there beforehand? How do we know someone wasn't in before the DOJ video started? By all measures, you could have stayed in Epstein's cell block. You could have actually not been seen by the camera or the guard if you were just hidden inside of the utility closet or the crawl space. Right there, there's Epstein's door, and there is a unlocked security closet. And there is the broken camera. So of course we have no footage of what actually happened. We have no footage of Epstein's door. It's all a lie. And the footage that we're seeing is the entirety of the cell block. Anyone could have entered Epstein's actual tier. And that's the one piece of evidence we got with zero explanation. And I cannot emphasize enough what an insult that is. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us, Tom.
Now, if you don't know, Benny Johnson is a huge Trump fan. He's a big Trump fan. It's not like he's some detractor going after Trump. He was very excited about Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, as were many of us. I wasn't that excited about Pam Bondi, a woman. I mean, come on. But the whole point is that if there's 8 other cells and there is a stairway that is hidden that can lead up to that cell block that is not on the camera they released, a couple of things could have happened. Now, are you going to have a cop go in and snuff the life out of somebody? Probably not. A cop is probably not willing to do that. However, if you went to somebody else in the same cell block that had 8 other cells in that cell block, and you talked to them and you said, hey, this guy across the way, well, I'll tell you what, you'll get out early. We got an agreement with a current DOJ or somebody. You go in there, you snuff him out, okay? And then we're going to come up, we're going to open the doors. You're going to be able to walk right out of your cell across the hall, snuff him out, go back to your cell. When we'll get a deal where we get you out early. Here's 250, and we'll give you 250 grand when you get out of jail. Do you want to do it? I don't know many people that are in this type of security prison that wouldn't say, yeah, I'll put an electrical cord around his neck. Why not? Now, I mean, this is very theoretical. I mean, it's not being very accurate at all, but it's an instance where you could say, yeah, that could happen. That could happen off camera. That could happen without cops going in. That could easily happen. But the point to remember is the video that they've released is a lie. And what they're telling us is a lie. This is Pam Bondi. I don't know what, this is on Sean Hannity. I don't know what date this is. I think this is earlier this year. This is Pam Bondi talking about Epstein earlier this year, saying anyone on the documents who's trying to keep their name private has no legal basis to do so. What documents? What documents are you talking about? You've said there's no documents now. So what documents were you talking about then?
I want to know why AG Garland and the Justice Department are so quiet on this tonight. You know, they're out there labeling parents domestic terrorists, yet they're saying nothing about this. And these documents were so slow to come out. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar business in this country, and Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for 20 years where she belongs. And if people in that report are still fighting to keep their names private, Sean, they have no legal basis to do so unless they're a child, a victim, or a cooperating defendant by some chance against some potential case against Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think Mark Garagos, as a great criminal defense attorney, will back that up as well.
Where are you now? What happened? Where are you now? Boy, she was gung-ho. There's nothing out there. She's gung-ho that here are the files. She's gung-ho. I'm going through the files on my desk. She's gung-ho about protecting these young women by going through tens of thousands of hours of video. Just kidding. There's nothing here. From Viva Fry, who is an attorney. He's a lawyer, so I take his word on lawyerly things. He says to Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think that's who he's talking to, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene? Yes. He says, don't you see, they said there was no incriminating client list. So there could be a client list, but it's just not incriminating. Or it could be incriminating, but technically it's not a client list. Also, client list is a subjective concept. A Rolodex technically is not a list. Contacts in a phone is technically not a list. Unless it bears the title client list, one can semantically claim it's not a client list. I practiced law for nearly 15 years. I know how lawyers draft things when they want to be able to avoid the truth without lying. And he highlights this. The systematic review revealed no incriminating client list, in quotes. There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. There are women that were involved in this against their will. You could talk to them. You can unseal Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal case and look at the black book that she literally has that the judge said they're going to keep sealed. Where's that? What is this black book of names? Technically, that sounds like a list to me. Why has that been sealed away? And the DOJ is not cracking that baby open. I think if the DOJ and the FBI have credible need to see that list, I'm pretty sure they can unseal a lower court judge's authority of sealing that. There's still people to interview. Why are we taking no one else's word? Why are you just saying we didn't find a piece of paper here? Oh, well, everybody, nothing to see. And this is what Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about. What about her little black book? The 97-page book contains the names and contact details of almost 2,000 people, including world leaders, celebrities, and businessmen. No one believes there's not a client list. See right here, as they say, her little black book to remain secret in court, in a court deal. How can a court deal protect all these others? Because as Viva Fry says, well, technically it's not a list. So when they come out here and the leading headline is, let me go back to the beginning of this report. There is no client list. Yeah, I mean, you could, I could have my phone, I could have a list of names in there. It just doesn't say clients. It's just a list of names and numbers. And it could say, I don't know, grocery list, grocery bill, and have people's names and phone numbers. And they say, well, technically, it's not a client list. It doesn't say anything about clients on here. Nothing to see here, everybody. From Wall Street Apes, Tucker Carlson, the real reason Pam Bondi won't release the Jeffrey Epstein files. The current DOJ under Pam Bondi is covering up crimes, very serious crimes. Intel services are at the very center of the story, U.S. and Israeli, and they're being protected. I'm going to let, this is a journalist, so I don't know who the journalist is. They don't mention it here, but this is Tucker Carlson talking to a journalist that has been working on this case, shall we say. I'll let Tucker say it in his own words, because I think Tucker is stating some things that many of us have some questions about.
The people don't matter in this case.
Man, I think this, for a bunch of reasons, it's so obvious. It is salacious. People have followed it for years. The president promised to reveal the truth about this. Pam Bondi, as you said, went on television and said, we have the truth, we're going to give it to you.
Yes.
I think this is a big deal. It's a really big deal. It's bigger.
So.
I hope so too, actually. So let's just assess this logically. They're covering up, the DOJ, the current DOJ under Pam Bondi is covering up crimes. Very serious crimes by their own description. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
So there are really only two potential explanations that I can think of. Maybe you've got another. The first is that Trump is involved, that, Trump is on the list, that they've got tape of Trump doing something awful. I don't believe that for two reasons. One, I've talked to Trump about it a lot. And I know him. He's not that, for whatever his sins. I don't think he's that guy, actually. I don't think he likes creepy sex stuff. That's just my view. But more, I think, convincing is that this is all information that the Biden administration had. And if there was evidence that Trump had been involved in illegal sexual activity, you think the people who made up Russiagate wouldn't have leaked it?
Right.
Come on now. So the only other explanation that I can think of, again, maybe you've got another, is that Intel services are at the very center of the story, U.S. and Israeli, and they're being protected. I think that seems like the most plausible.
That's the most obvious. They have a history of this. There have been multiple documented cases of pedophilia inside of the CIA perpetrated by CIA officers, documented that in many of those cases, I believe over a dozen cases, this was a BuzzFeed news piece years back, where the CIA specifically did not want to prosecute those individuals in federal court for fear that they would reveal sources and methods if they were pulled into open court. And they basically just made it go away. The only time they actually prosecuted somebody for child pornography was whenever he'd already been prosecuted for mishandling classified information.
Well, when they want to crush you, they put kiddie porn in your computers. Why don't have a computer? Don't own one.
If you're an
That's
important
why.
person, you should be careful.
No computer in my house.
This is an important thing, though, is that we already have documented cases of them covering this up. I believe the CIA Inspector General, I forget the exact quote, but he said something along the lines of, you wouldn't even believe the amount of child porn, that I've seen while I'm on this job. I mean, these are depraved. Look, I mean, it's a large organization, a small percentage of the U.S., we can make that argument. I think there is like something pathological, kind of in the minds of the people who excel in this type of environment.
Of course, it's based on lying.
Yes.
Now, I can't really speak to any of this, obviously, because I don't know anything about the Intel agency and the previous case that they're talking about. But I can say this much, and I can't even speak to who's covering up what, but I can say this. Let's say allegedly, I'll just put out allegedly just to make sure my own backside is covered. If allegedly there are millionaires, billionaires on this list, people that own large companies that are, in the that have public companies, right? And them being caught might make the stock market explode, maybe be a tipping point into a recession. Would they cover this up to protect the stock market, to protect the rich, to protect those in government? Yes, I believe they would. If there are congressmen and senators, if there are people in our intel agency, if there are foreign agents, if there are foreign government leaders, would they cover this up? Yes, I believe they would. Because as they lie, the lying isn't to They don't care about us. Maybe that's the best way I can put it. They don't care what we think. They do not care what we think. So them lying to us, I mean, they know they're lying. We know they're lying. They know we know they're lying, that kind of thing. The lying isn't for us. The lying from the DOJ and the FBI and this administration is basically saying to all of those that are involved, don't worry, we got your back. This isn't coming out because if it did, it could destroy the FBI, it could destroy the DOJ, it could destroy our trust in our own government, it could destroy trust in other governments, it could destroy trust in our billionaires and the people that are very heavily invested in the stock market. It could destroy Hollywood. There's a lot of people that had their time spent with him, with Epstein. A lot of people, Bill Gates. I forget some of the other names on there. I won't go down through it all. But this could be one of those things that would completely shatter the American and the global trust in our government, in our stock market, in Hollywood, in other governments. This would be the biggest ring of PDF files that ever got pulled down in the history of the world. And with them lying to us about it to make sure the machine keeps running smoothly, the corrupt, evil, stupid machine, with them lying to us to keep this machine running, is that okay for them? Oh, yes, easily. And I think even if Kash Patel, and I know we say Dan Bongino, but I don't think Dan's involved with this, but if I'm Kash Patel and I really want to expose this stuff, or I'm Pam Bondi and I really want to expose this stuff, and you start digging into this and you realized this is going to bring down other world leaders, countries that we're friendly with. This is going to expose and break up the FBI, the DOJ. This is going to destroy the stock market. This is going to blow up literally everything. Just lie to the people. And if they still said, no, I'm not going to lie to the people. I said I was going to run on this. I said I was going to release this. I'm not going to lie to the American people because I said I was going to get to the truth of this. If the next words to you are, there's a lot of agents with other countries, with other agencies. If you do this, there's going to be a day you don't wake up. But before that day, your family doesn't wake up. They're just going to disappear. Then you'll disappear. And everybody you love will disappear. Do you still want to do that? I don't know about you. I feel that me personally, I feel like I would try to do the right thing. If I was elected to do something, if I said I was going to do something, I'd try to do the right thing. And even if my morality said, no, let it all collapse, let it all fall down, I don't care. Let the market fall off. Let these other government leaders go. I don't care. Do you care about your family? Because even if they said, we'll end you, even if they send that to one of these, either Pam Bondi or Dan or Kash Patel, even if they said, we'll end you if you get the truth out, okay, I'll be a martyr. I'll go down. I will blow this all up. I'll go down. Go ahead, take me out. That's not how the corruption gets you. The corruption gets you by saying, we'll kill your family, your parents, your brothers and sisters, their children, your children. We will, your friends, everybody that knows you on any personal level, we will end them. But we'll leave you until the end so you know what you did. I think there's a point where you say, you know something? All right, I'm just going to be quiet. I'm just going to say there's no there. You're right. I'll serve my years. I'll do the rest of my term. I'll go fight the other fights of the border or whatever things. And okay. I think that's that could be happening too. I can tell you this much though. They know they're lying to us. We know they're lying to us. And they know We know they're lying to us. But the truth is they don't care. Because all this story is not for you or I. Them coming out saying, well, nothing here. We're putting this to bed forever. This isn't a message to us. It's a message to the foreign leaders. It's a message to the insiders in the CIA, the FBI, the government agencies, the unelected bureaucrats. It's a message to maybe the congressmen or the senators that were involved, or the former presidents or the future presidents, or it's a message to all of those people that no matter what happens, no matter how bad the corruption is, no matter what degeneracy you get up to, we're going to look the other way. We're on the same team. Don't worry about it. That's what this story is about. Remember that. That's what this story is really about.